come down front. Nigel will come to you in a minute. So we'll take the one gentleman just here, the hand up there. Yes, please.
Thank you. Just wanted to know, is the retention and refurbishment of the existing centre being considered at all as part of the new proposals? And if not, why not?
Well, I think the question there would be to the people who develop their centres outside of town. If I could ask them quickly if they considered doing that in their own particular backyard. As far as this one's going, I don't know the answer to that, and I think it's up to the developers when we talk to them this afternoon. And if you could raise that question again with them later, that'd be very good. But if I could just quickly hear from the various panellists if they did intend to do that in their own backyards.
Yes, continued service provision is a key criteria for us. We kept continued service provision on all three leisure centres. We had a short closure and the refurbishment of our Red Hill centre, and that was a pooled area, and that was because we had to retile it, and that was ongoing.
For Worthing, we did. I don't think we really actually ever looked at the existing building and tried to retain and refurbish it, partly because it wasn't DDA compliant. You had to walk up a number of steps to get to the pool. There were major issues with the structure, there were major issues with the boilers, and to be honest, it was a pool that just needed to be replaced. And so the key issue was whether we could keep the pool going whilst we were building a new one. The real concern in the town was that the boilers might finally give out, that the tiles might lift, and we just might have to close the pool without having the new one in place. So it really was just beyond its life expectancy, and it needed replacing. So it wasn't really an issue for Worthing.
The same applied to all three leisure centres that we've built in Lambeth recently. The existing centres were really at the end of their life, and there was no economic way to make them safe or accessible or fulfil modern expectations at all.
Thank you for that. Can we get another question? Lady here down.
Can I just ask each of you, if you have a succession plan, how long are your centres going to last, and then what happens after that? Because King Alfred's 74 years, I think it's been around probably about 35 years, isn't it? Should have been.
Good question. We're looking actively at our sinking pond provisions to replace them. The predicted lifespan of our new builds are 60 years with plant replacements, but you can expect after circa 25 years there's significant amounts of plant that need to be replaced.
Similar sort of position for Worthing. I mean, one of the reasons why we didn't want to end up with leasing a building is that we wanted to run the building, we could have control over it in the future in terms of what we had to do to it. But again, one of the other advantages of having a modern building was it was highly sustainable, so their ground source heat pumps, and the cost of running the facility was significantly less than the existing. There will be a need for investment in the future, but again, that's something that we are fully aware of, and again, the structure has been designed, could last for a long time. It's just things like boilers and internal fit outs that might need replacement in the years. But certainly, with a building that's level access, sustainable, and with materials that are built to last, we hope that the building will be there for many reasons.
I've not much to add to that. Very similar situation. We expect all of ours to run at a surplus, and so therefore some of that surplus can be ring-fenced to the ongoing maintenance of the buildings.
Excellent question, because as you say, the current ones last a long time, and we need to know how long it's going to be going for thing. I've got time for just two more questions, if I may, before we break for and I'll take them both at the same time. I'll take the lady there, and then Christopher afterwards.
I just wanted to ask, for the proportion of housing that we have on these sites, how much of it is affordable housing? And also, from a green point of view, I just wanted to know how much you've concentrated on using and making your buildings sustainable and ensuring that the carbon emissions are not too high, and also whether or not you're concentrated on public transport and easy access to these buildings, and it's not just all about cars getting there.
Thank you. Christopher just asked his question. Before we go on to
Thank you very much. I was been sitting here wondering why the Empire State Building was up there. Then it occurred to me that that building's almost the same age as the King Alfred, and indeed recently, over the past 2 decades, it's been very tired and it's been recently renovated inside. So I assume that's why the Empire State Building's there. But my particular question is of the panel. We've heard a certain criticism of having a project board for this. But of course, it appears to me you do need something that will steer this forward, set some guidelines, establish what might be feasible, what might be wishful thinking, and so on. And so I'm just wondering if we could ask the people from elsewhere how they regard Brighton and Hove having set up this project board, which could in fact be bringing its report to the July P&R meeting ahead of September. But that's, as you know, Councillor Theobald, some of these things, they eddy and flow, to use a nautical metaphor. Thank you.
Okay, good question. And this, just before we go on, before we go on to the ask the questions, there's a gentleman at the front here just wanted a question as well. I don't know if you would like to just quickly ask one as part of the trilogy, and then we'll have the answers and go for it.
Okay. I know there aren't representatives from Mid-Sussex here today, but are any of you able to tell me how 2 small town councils, such as Burgess Hill and Haywards Heath, were able to build such magnificent sports centres?
Thank you for that. So we've got a question about affordable housing, project boards, and how smaller councils can do it. Could we go in the same order again? Would that be okay?
Affordable housing wise, on Asset Leisure Centre, we're looking at 25%, which 15% is shared equity, and 10% is rent. In terms of the green question, our buildings are got biomass boilers and solar power generation. We didn't have a formal green rating on Weatherley Leisure Centre purely because we took that decision that we didn't really think we needed one. But we did get it assessed as to what rating it would achieve, and it would have achieved an excellent rating. In terms of easy access.
I can't hear it.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Sorry. Easy access wise, yes, all our centres have easy access, flat and level access. In terms of cars, we do have transport studies done, and we have transport impact assessments done. In terms of the question about the project board, yes, we had a project board. I felt it ran very successfully. The project board currently in place for our new centre up at Banstead is actually has members from not only from the Borough Council but also County Council, and we found that integration has worked very well. And I'm afraid I can't answer your question on Mid-Sussex.
In terms of Worthing, the existing site will be sold for development, but very much the requirement will be to meet the council's policy for affordable housing, which is 30% affordable housing. That does obviously affect the return the council will get, but it recognises the affordable housing requirements that are in the town. In terms of sustainability, I think I mentioned the ground source heat pumps. Actually, within the beach house grounds, a large open landscaped area to the side of the pool, and that was dug up completely, and that entire area covers the ground source heat pumps, and we will be hitting the BREEAM very good standard. One of the driving forces for also having it on the seafront is it's right next to the cycle path, the seafront route. And another reason for having it in the town centre in terms of very good bus links along Brighton Road with the 700 service. And actually parking was one of the biggest reasons for proposing this scheme, but we argued very strongly that 68 spaces was sufficient, or more than the existing, because it was in such a highly sustainable location.
We insisted on 40% affordable housing in all of our projects and achieved that. And again, we've gone for BREEAM very good, because that was economically the best thing we could reach using the latest technologies. As a London Borough, we have to pay for every tonne of carbon that we emit. We have to buy a permit for every tonne. And our old leisure centre at Brixton is our biggest emitter of carbon, so we're very conscious of that as a double cost both to us and to the environment. We do have sustainable transport plans for all of our developments. In London, we're very well connected in public transport. One of the things we've tried to achieve in Streatham and haven't yet achieved is that the station isn't fully DDA compliant. There are some grade differences which haven't yet been resolved, but we haven't given up on that. And in terms of a project board, I think, how could you not have one? It's absolutely essential that there's some sort of joint approach to driving this forward, and I hope that it's successful.
Well, thank you for that, and my absolutely warm appreciation to Carolyn, James, John, Mark and Geoffrey. And if you could all show a typical Brighton Hove hospitality, thank you to everyone who spoke.